What is happening YouTube? Hope you guys are well. We are in my 5th day of my training block. Today we have a big day. We're having a 4.5 hour ride with 5 times 30 minutes at race pace for Ironman, which is going to be around 300-310 watts, somewhere in that range, followed off by a 1 hour run at 3:55 pace, so 15.3 kilometers in mile an hour. Let's get into it. So my bike is pretty much ready to go, as you saw. I also laid out everything for the brick run afterwards. Yeah, it's still quite fresh, but it's going to be the first time I'm going to be running outside. No carbon shoes, just normal shoes, because it's still going to be a little bit slippery, but no ice, anything, but some gravel. Socks, beanie, buff, like for the throat if it's cold, gloves, not too heavy clothing, watch, some music. But definitely important to not overheat. It's going to be like that. It's going to be a bit rolling terrain, so it's probably a bit tricky to hit exactly the paces, but important is that I kind of hit the pace ranges. So the goal would be 3:55 pace, but somewhere around the 4-minute range. If you go uphill, it's maybe 4:15, 4:20, depending how steep. If you go downhill, maybe a bit slower, but important is that I get the pace ranges kind of in and run outside. If you saw the last video, I did it indoors and it was just way too hot without, cooling or anything like that. So I'm not going to be having that extra stress, as I said in the last video. But let's mix the nutrition for today's ride. All right, race nutrition. I bought, not sponsored, lots of Morton stuff. I think that ratio is going to be best for me, but important that I test that. Before I always used sugar, just for training, cheaper for me. But now we got Morton products. I got the gels here, but actually the drink mixes. So I got 2 big packages here and a scale. That's going to be important for today, because I'm gonna be looking for the same setup I have in the race, right? So I'm gonna be having 2 bottles on the bike, one in the front with me and one in the back. So that's gonna be on board. And I'm gonna have an Aero bottle on board. So for the full Ironman Texas in 8 weeks time. That one I'm gonna be having with. This one I'm gonna be having with, in a sense that the Canyon bike has this inside pouch which fits like 400 or 500 milliliters. So this one I'm also gonna have. I could use the pouch, but I'm gonna do that in the race specific sessions outside. But the same liquid, so everything that I have on board in T1 basically, I'm gonna be putting on my bike now and mix it in a way that it works. So let's get started with the run part. That's a bit easier to do. Also in the race, I'm gonna be running with a run belt just to make sure I got the nutrition in and it's easy to handle. So I just need water on race course basically. So there I'm just gonna start now with 80 grams per hour. See how that goes. After on the bike 120 grams with Morton, that's a different one, right? So 80 grams is easy, one package is 80 grams and has already 500 milligrams of sodium in. So I just gotta add a little bit of sodium myself. I'm gonna put this in here. I'll show you why in a second. So the full package, 1 hour run off. As I said in last video, this is just pure sodium. I'm gonna be adding now that we go to 1000 milligrams of sodium, just with Texas heat and everything. So that would be now 900 and a bit. Then we got 1000. Mix that a little bit. I'm gonna be taking 2 flasks on the run now, but only one of them. I'm gonna make it super simple for me in the race. So one of those flasks will have the carb amount I need for a half marathon. So very simple for the brain, not much thinking involved. One of those flasks in the race, only sodium and carbs in here, has to be gone by the first marathon half. This has to be gone by the second latest. If I feel I can do a bit more, I can always add cola on course if I feel like I can add more carbs. But first, this is a steady baseline and see what the gut says. In the race as well, it's always a different scenario there than doing in training, but I want to go as close as possible in training. So this is gonna be my 1 hour carb flask. So now I fill in the drink mix. Oh, that's a lot. Dusty. Alright. Everything in. Nothing spillage, that's important. Then I'm going to mix in this. So here I got now 1 flask, will be now enough for the 1 hour run. Meaning 80 grams of carbs, 1000 milligrams of sodium. So although I would not need 1000 right now with the weather outside, but in Texas I will. So I want to make sure that my gut, even when the weather and climate is good, with the carb amount can do it. So let's fill this up with water. Filled up with water, nicely mixed. The second one of those I will also fill with water, just pure water, because in the race I'll just take straight up water on the aid station, nothing else, unless after like 25-30k I feel gut is happy. I can even take in theory more, then, or like a bite of banana or something if you need filling, but otherwise yeah, basically just water. The first time I'm gonna be doing an Ironman with like a belt like that. The benefits are pretty clear because it's easy to mess up nutrition, right? And nutrition is literally half the race. So might look a bit funky and all, but I do not care. So one of those bad boys here is now my carb bottle. Another one is my water bottle because I'm going to be running outside. I don't have aid station with or like a support person that can hand me water right now. And I'm not going to be running a loops either where I could put a water bottle. I will do that once we're in Texas, training there before, but now this is what we got. Okay, now a bit of math time for the bike. I want 120 grams of carbs. I have this little mini scale, it's just a food scale. It says on the back as well from the modern products, so pretty easy to get. 100 grams of this pulver has 99 grams of carbs, so pretty much 100 grams. And also sodium important, and it has 600 milligrams per 100 grams. 600 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams of this pulver, or 100 grams of carbs within 1 carb. It's okay. I need 120 grams of this pulver for 1 hour, and that has 720 milligrams of sodium. Not quite enough. I want to be getting closer to the 1,000 milligram side, so I'm going to be adding sodium on top that I get 1,000 milligrams as well. Okay, now let's get started. I'm going to fill a little bit water in the bottom here. Boom, put this on top of the scale. Then important to tare it or like reset it basically, so it says 0, because you want to know that you put 120 grams on top. Basically, one of those has 200 milligrams, then we have 920. We want 1000, so like a little bit more. Alrighty, the bit more complicated part was the aero bottle. This goes in my aero bottle. So this is 240 grams of molten pulver, so 240 grams of carbs, 2 hours worth of racing for me. So as I said, I'll be having the 2 molten bottles in the first 2 hours, 120 grams each, 1000 milligrams each, plus added water, very important, to get the liquid intake to like 1.2 liters for sure, maybe more if I'm more thirsty. But if I drink more, it's okay because I calculate a little bit sodium on top, so I'm not too low. I'm right with the calculations there. Yeah, most important that the gut can take it, right? So here's also some added sodium again in. Either way, I'm gonna be putting this in my aero bottle here. A little trick there, skateboard tape, so it doesn't slip. Out of your hands at least, it can still pop out, but it's pretty rare. But I see more and more people putting like a rubber band around it if they hit a pothole. So there might be still a bit aero penalty maybe, but yeah, if you lose that one, you're in trouble, right? So yep. Whew, got a bit nervous there if I got it in here, because otherwise it's a pretty expensive mistake. 240 grams of this pulver is like 15 euros or something. So I got it all in here, but it's more like a gel-like thing, right? I'm gonna test this now, that's why I do it in training, because it's easy to mess up, right? You don't know exactly how much. You just know half of this bottle has to be gone within 1 hour, but I mean, you can't really see well this line, okay, but like, let's say you mess it up a little bit and you go a bit too hard on this, by accident you have 150 grams an hour, suddenly you get sick, suddenly your race is in trouble. So yeah, I gotta try this now and rather take a bit too small zips and more frequent than have a big one and mess it up, right? Because your gut will tell you quickly if you take too much of this and you suddenly get issues. Yeah, that's why you practice it in training, but this is maxed out, no more than 240 grams. There's some water in there, but That would have been an expensive mistake if this didn't fit in. And you know, I think in the past I tried even 450 grams, obviously didn't work. First time I tried this was like a week out from the race. I was like, yeah, shit, I'm a bit in trouble now. So yeah, lots of water to dilute this one. One little tip, at some point it was maxed out with water, so I shook it for quite a while. And then when you have another look in, actually somehow it mixes better to some fluid. There's more space for water, which is amazing. So I filled it up more, so it's more diluted and not just a thick paste. That's a good tip to know. If you fill it in there, make sure you top it up with water as much as you can, so you have it as much diluted with water as well, so you don't just... Another thing I just did, as you can see here, I completely taped the edges. It's a training ride, I'm not gonna hit a bump on the indoor ride, but you know, I wanna get into the habit of taping this, because if I should use this bottle in the race, I will 100% stop, turn around. Yes, I lose 30 seconds, maybe a minute, but not as much as like trying to hustle your nutrition together. So, of course, if you go downhill 50k an hour or something, you can't, but luckily there's Morton on course as well, so you can kind of improvise, have a plan B in place, but yeah, it's gonna mean a lot of gels as well, right? If that should be the case. I just realized I didn't explain why I taped this. So if this thing should fall on the ground, what often happens is that the top breaks off, and maybe taping around here first, of course, when you grab it, that nothing can happen, it can't spill anything. But maybe it's just enough that it doesn't break off the lid, doesn't soak out and all this stuff. Just small things, cost nothing, but might make a big difference in the race. So last time I did have more planned. I had 1.5 liters per hour planned. It was too much. Of course, when you're outside is something else, but I couldn't get it down. So now I'm calculating with 1.2 liters per hour. So I'll ride for 4.5 hours, 4.5 times 1.2. That means 5.4 liters of liquid in total. I just have the caps bottle there, so just gotta add water now at top, as I would in the race. Just grab water from the aid stations as a fuel. That's the only thing I need from them, and the rest I have on board. So to summarize, here we got my 4 liters of water. The reason I choose those half bottles is because one of those half bottles will go into my frame. Canon has this awesome pouch here. There's a straw going here into my 3D printed beauty. There's also a cutout for that straw. So I have only water in here, which I will have to refill on the go, or just this bottle will be gone. So this is 120 grams. This will be the first bottle I drink in the first hour. Then I got my second bottle of 120 grams, will be in the second hour. And then whatever is easiest, but yeah, easier for the brain. Hour 1, hour 2, hour 3 and 4. And yeah, I think I'm gonna be 4 hours riding, a little bit more for 10, slows for 15, I believe. So I will have a spare gel in here, just in case. And also some spare sodium. Actually, I'm gonna put it in there right now, so I never forget it. So if I should lose all my stuff, I have extra sodium in here, because if I take extra gels from then on board, I got maybe the carbs sorted, but not the sodium. So if you lose your sodium, you're in big old trouble, and your marathon is pretty much dead. All right, I'm back. I got my sodium here, beautiful zip bag, highly professional, but this is what it's gonna be. 20 tablets of sodium in there, pure salt basically. So this will be 1,000 per hour, 4,000 milligrams of sodium. If I should lose all my nutrition, all my carbs, for whatever reason, I got almost sodium I will use in here. Of course, 0 carbs at that point, if I should lose it all. It's unlikely I lose this and this. Maybe I lose this, that's why I think about a wrapper. But I will still make some kind of construction myself with like a rubber band, as professional as I can, with some zip ties. So this will be locked with a band, this one as well, so it can't shoot out like a rocket. But one reason I let this design as well, not just for aerodynamic purposes, but also the angle, because if the angle is like this, you saw with Jan Frodeno in Nice, for example, he hit a bump, but his bottle angle was like this. Think about physics, he got a bump, so we're gonna shoot straight away. And this way, I think the physics maybe should help, but of course, this beauty is mainly for aerodynamics. Let's get going. Another thing worth doing might be that, you know, to connect your power meter to your phone. That's what I do. First to measure the power accurately, so that's one thing, but another one is to check your power meter first battery status, but you should check all batteries anyways before a race. and also firmware. You know, sometimes there's new updates on this firmware on the power meter and you don't often connect it to your Bluetooth, so just do it before the race. Maybe a few months, have a look if there's any updates. That's what I'm doing right now, and then we get going. I just saw the app actually has an update. As you can see here, this is the SRAM app. Have a look. So there's everything pretty green, but it looks good. Updates and everything looks happy. So let's do a quick calibration of the power meter here as well and then get going. Okay, we just started the ride. It will be first 20 minutes easy. This is my screen, by the way, for the bike. So I got power there, 3-second power on top. Then I got kilometers power, so speed, very relevant. Overall time, heart rate, overall kilometers, average kilometers power, and RPM, so like your cadence. But when I make it small, so like the main images, I just get power, speed, because you want to keep the speed as high as possible. So when you go slow, you need more power. When you go fast, at some point there's a trade-off. When you go, for example, over 55k an hour, there's only so much power you can push. But I'm going to be getting a nice upgrade still for the bike, which I'm excited for. That will help to keep the speed high. When the speed is high and other people spin out, I'm going to be still pushing. Alrighty, we just did almost an hour at 240 watts. I was a bit wrong earlier. We do 1 hour. I changed it, so I'm a bit metabolically more stressed. So like you've been riding a bit already, and then you go into the intervals. So first 30-minute interval, 305 watts, something like that. It's indoors, so yeah, let's get in. I almost finished my first bottle, so almost 120 grams gone, plus a bit of the water. This one almost gone, so that would be then 1.2 liters. And yeah, like I said, a small bottle I would normally have in the front with a straw. And yeah, so exactly like I would have in a race. So let's get the first one done and I'll check in afterwards. So we did the first one, just now finish it. 305 watts normalized power. 2 scenarios. I personally vote for scenario 1 because legs were pretty toasty. Rational explanation for this, so I'm not mad at my body. I carved up enough. It's not low carb feeling in the muscle. It's not that. It's I did some juicy sessions the last days, and if anybody knows something about muscle ache or fatigue, it hits on the second day or just today. Yesterday was a bit easy aerobic day. Was still 3 hours, and the day before was 5 times 5 minutes threshold run, 318, 320 pace, minute per K, and then also 5 times 5 minutes VO to max bike. So it's okay that the legs are a bit juicy, but my hope is now that it kind of washes out after the first 30 minutes, and that now the second rep and all the other ones will feel better. But that's scenario 1 I vote for. Second scenario is muscle fatigue will stay, and this will be a long day. But if you can't do this even on crushed legs, how do you expect to do it in a full Ironman and run a full marathon off and have a strong swim before? So all good, all good. I'm gonna make it. Check in after the next rep. 2 reps done. Second rep, slightly better, but I'm afraid it's gonna be option 2. It's gonna be a bit of a slog today, but that's okay. It's Ironman training. You can't expect to feel fantastic each time, and that is a breeze. Last time I kind of breezed through this workout. Now it's a little bit more challenging muscular wise, but heart rate, for example, way lower than last time. Not way, but like in a good way, not like a kind of way that your heart is tired and is suppressed. Not like that. I can see that from the Oura Ring data as well. It's looking good, but in a good way. Just muscle wise, a bit toasty. So a few more minutes easy riding, and we're heading into rep number 3. Alright, we did 3. Felt kind of the same as last time. We are now 2 hours 50 in. So 10 minutes more spinning. Really happy with the mixes. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't use Morton yet in a while, not 120 grams. So far gut is really happy, no issues. Also this mix, 240 grams, works really well. Just taking small zips at a time. I think that's important. We take big zips, yeah. Also sodium concentration and stuff, just making sure that the gut stays happy. So easy spinning, or like 200 watts, but easy. And then another 2 times 30 minutes. But step by step, 3 down, easy now. And then another one. We did 4 times 30 minutes. Legs are truly alive now. But yeah, last one's gonna be challenging. Just a muscular accumulated fatigue. Expected, but I'd rather suffer now in training than in the race. So gonna get through it. Nutrition still really good. No issues whatsoever. Fluid also good. Probably end up drinking not all of it, maybe a little bit lower, but temperature aren't so high here, so it's good. But yeah, now a bit easy. And then the last one, it's gonna be a tough cracker. Just muscular wise. Energy system's good. I feel mentally clear, which is a good sign of energy, and also sodium and hydration, of course. But just leg wise, I can feel we are doing the last kilometers of an Ironman basically. So all good. Checking in after the last one. Whew, 5th one done. As you can see, we almost did it. 20 minutes more easy. Legs are definitely super alive, but it's good. Just muscular wise, which is great, which is what you want. It's really good to strengthen like this, because once I absorb it, I'll be stronger. So this is perfect. No energy low, no, none of that. Just pure muscular fatigue. Hitting pretty big. And I know it's not the session, because I did it last time as well. It's not the session per se, but cumulative load. And I also know, having done 14 Ironmans, that cycling legs don't equal running legs. So cycling legs might be pretty toasty now, but getting off the bike doesn't mean that your running legs feel the same. So we'll see. 15 minutes easy, a bit more, and then I change to the 1 hour run. Finished the ride, wasn't pretty, but I got it in. Now I'm gonna change into my stuff here. Fortunately during, but afterwards I'll check in again. Wish me luck. Hope the legs show up, and just a good run. But if it's too hard, it's not Ironman pace anyway, so has to be manageable. Of course challenging, but like, you know, it's 15k run. If you can't jog the pace all day long, 15k, then it's not the Ironman pace. So all good. I'm gonna enjoy it. Done. Me and my fanny pack did it. Was a good run overall, really happy. Hit some good Ironman RPEs, that's a big one. Good leg turnover, good energies. Muscular wise good, except towards the end I hit some more fatigue levels. Really rolling hills, ups and down, no carbon shoes, there's still ice, so like safety first. And yeah, super happy, did an awesome session. But I gotta recover now, and I gotta eat a lot. And yeah, awesome session. Thanks for following. I'm gonna be checking out, and I see you in the next video.